There's a common meme that has been floating around in recovery. I think it was in a TED talk, based on this Rat Park study that said the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection, and people love that phrase, and they love it because it holds truth. It holds a lot of truth. Probably the most complex realm to navigate when we're in recovery is the social, is the interpersonal, is the areas where we get connected and disconnected intrapersonally inside of ourselves and interpersonally with each other. So what you'll see with people coming into recovery is you'll see what I call splits. And splits are sort of disintegrated, are areas of the self in the way that we interact that are not in communication with each other. Right? It's often why when we're talking about human beings, we talk about our different parts, our yin and our yang, our shadow, those kinds of things. The little devil on my shoulder, the angel on my shoulder. We think about these different, sub-personalities or archetypal characters that exist inside of us. So often those sub-personalities are split. Right? So the person who's really mature and articulate, I can be mature and articulate, and then one of my children, spills the milk or whatever, and suddenly I'm my 9-year-old, self. It kind of comes out, or I have a trickster part of me, and all these different parts of myself. And so one of the things we're working with in recovery, and it's deeper work, is we're working on these internal developmental splits, these areas that are unintegrated because we're shooting for some kind of integrity. One area where people are split, they're unintegrated, that's really common, and people struggle with it deeply, they're in internal conflict when they come into recovery, is the tension between autonomy and belonging. What that means is, as I'm growing and developing in my adolescence, I'm trying to figure out how to become more autonomous, more self-contained, more in myself, especially as I'm moving away from my family system. And then eventually I'm figuring out how to navigate the relationships in my friendship system in a way that doesn't take too much from me, right? Where I can still have some sense of autonomy and self. And so there's a tension that exists in being human between the pole of autonomy, living life as an embodied creature on my own, and belonging. We're tribal, familial creatures that crave deep connection. But if I'm too much on either end, I'm lost, right? If I belong too much, I get swallowed up. All right? I lose my autonomy and my sense of self, right? We've seen that historically with great tragedy. And if I'm too isolated, I'm disconnected from my environment. My Wi-Fi's not working. I don't know what the hell's happening around me. So what we see with people coming into recovery is they're usually split. They're usually afraid of connection because they don't want to get swallowed up by belonging, and they kind of lean heavy towards autonomy. And so what does that look like? Well, what it looks like psychologically is on the belonging end is over-accommodation, which we commonly could refer to as people-pleasing, meaning I'm giving more, or codependence. I'm giving more and more to the people around me at a great cost to myself. I'm over-accommodating. It's one of the most common traits you see in addictive personalities. They over-accommodate more and more and more to their family system, to their work. Socially, they're smiling. How you doing? Oh, no problem. I'd love to do that. Da, 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 da. Oh, you want a cigarette? Take two. All of this stuff. And they're not connected with the part of them that gets resentful and frustrated at the cost to themselves when they choose to belong. So they get high. Right? And getting high sort of almost gives them the courage, you could say, to move in the other direction. No, you get drunk. It's like, man, I ain't doing that. How dare you disrespect me? That kind of stuff. So very often you'll see the over-accommodator. And then sometimes, and I think it's more rare, honestly, maybe 10%, people that are coming into recovery are so afraid of belonging that they've way deep on this other end of autonomy. They've completely disconnected from everybody around them and their self-contained systems, all on their own, right? And you can feel that when it walks in the room, And so one of the splits you're trying to navigate is becoming whole in that area, recognizing the necessity to belong and the necessity to have some sense of autonomy while belonging. Okay? How that manifests inside the self, often, I think in the psyche, is the sort of, I would call it the strength and compassion poles. And so often in a conflict, when I'm not sure how to be, where something is rubbed up against my ego defenses, my immediate reaction is sort of, I need to be strong here. If I'm not a very deferential person, I need to be assertive. Let me assert my strength, right? If I assert my strength too hard, I end up feeling guilty and ashamed at having pushed back too hard. So I have this other mode, which is compassion and understanding, which is people are having their feelings and emotions, and I'm I'm compassionate and understanding. If I'm too compassionate or understanding, I end up feeling weak and deferential, like I accommodated too much to this person's being, thoughts, ideas, whatever it was, behaviors. So what's the solution for that internally? This is high-level work. I mean, this ain't day one work. This is 10-year, 20-year work. This is for everybody, not just addicts, but for addicts, I think it's a crucial point. It's around strength through compassion, I call it. That there actually is a space that exists inside of human beings that is incredibly compassionate and incredibly strong at the same time. Meaning, I go all in compassion, but not in a deferential way. I fight for compassion reasonably inside of myself and in the world. It's really high-level work, but when you find that space of strength through compassion, strength and compassion, all in one, let's call it, frequency, I think that's when human beings feel the most whole. Strength through compassion.